Welcome to Unleash Your Inner Goldilocks, how to get it just right. Thank you so much for joining us for another interesting and insightful conversation. And today is extremely special for both me and the Goldilocks community because we are going to be talking to an amazing author who has written a magical book. And the most precious thing about this author is just look at her and you're going to find out what is so special about Kambree. Kambree, welcome to Unleash Your Inner Goldilocks. I am so delighted to have you on.
Thank you, Kas. I'm happy to be here.
I am blown away by your commitment to take your passion and turn it into something meaningful. And I am so moved by your parents' support to make it happen. Talk to me about why you decided to write and how it made you feel.
I decided to write because I've always had a lot of imagination in my mind, and so I just felt like it was all spilling out, and it just made me happy to write. I learned because I love to read, and so I wanted to see if I could create something like that myself. And when I finally took the time and tried, it was very rewarding.
I am so glad to hear. Now, we see you with your mom and dad and your sister Maya. How have their presence and their support motivated you and encouraged you?
I wouldn't even have published a book without my parents. They decided to do it as a surprise for Christmas one year, and Maya and I are always playing games, and it helps really spark my imagination sometimes, and I want to thank them a lot. Yeah.
That is amazing. Too many times parents are too busy because that's life in this part of the world, right? But to make the time and see the dreams and make it come true, that is amazing. Before I ask a question from your parents, I want you to take a moment, Kambree, and talk to us a little bit about the title of the book and what is something that people can expect to learn from that. I know it's only a sneak peek.
It's called the Northern Light Ice Bridge, and it's called that because it takes place on a Northern Light Ice Bridge that holds a ring of magic where there are stones that keep it in place there, but when they go missing, it causes a great illness. And so that's kind of why I chose the title. And in this book, I try to show values like lessons of kindness and friendship, loyalty and determination, and definitely hope, because I think those are important things, even if you don't always know what's going to happen next. And I tried to explain that in my book.
That is powerful to come from such a young lady. You're not yet a teenager, right?
Well,
she's 14.
Okay, so barely a teenager, just entering your teenage years. And to have the kind of wisdom that you have and to talk about it. Why do you think those are important for us from childhood to adulthood? You talked about so many different elements most adults don't pay attention to.
I think that they're really important for people to understand, because you're right, sometimes people don't always see those elements, and I don't want my book to just be a fantasy book. I want them to take something away from it.
That is beautiful. Mom and Dad, as you sit and watch Kambree go through this process and see the power of your assistance in getting the book published, I'm going to go to Mom first. Stacy, how does it make you feel as a mother? And what advice would you have for other mothers?
I am beyond proud of Kambree. She, as she's mentioned, has a passion. She knows what she wants, but most importantly, she goes for it. And I've just loved watching her just take off. And really, I haven't done much. She's done all the work. I just encourage her where I can and let her know that her dreams are within reach and that she can do anything. And she's amazing. She's proven that.
Thank you. And you're an amazing mom to give your daughter that space and let her lead her life and support her. Too many parents don't know how to let go. And that's the thing, even at work, right? Leaders think that they have to control everything, but the best leaders at home or at work, they're the ones who know to let go. So thank you. Thank you for teaching through your life to your daughters that love is about having the confidence and letting go. Thank you, Stacy. So Jake, sitting there as dad, the only man in the family, the masculine energy that holds all of the feminine energy together. How does it feel to be that dad?
I love being Cambree's dad. All my girls are just a light. They bring so much joy in my life. They help calm me down. They're very empathetic too, and Kambree has a very big heart. That's something that I've always appreciated about Kambree is she's taught me some lessons about how to open up my heart to new friends, new possibilities. She's a very outgoing, kind, caring person. So I've learned a lot from her when it comes to forming bonds and friendships with people.
That's beautiful. It's not easy being an all-girls household and a girl dad. Because boys are raised to be boys, and then it's like, oh God, I don't have boys now. I have to learn all the girl stuff, right? So as you navigate this, what advice do you have for dads? Because dads grew up and look at the world differently, and there is a need to let the girls be girls.
I think as a girl dad that it's important to let your daughters express their emotions and how they feel, and be a safe space where you can be open and communicate, what's going on in your life, and just be open and honest with each other.
I'm glad to hear you say that, because when we don't allow our daughters to show emotion, they don't understand emotion and they can't grow up to be emotionally intelligent, right? And so I would actually like to see even boy dads give that space for boys to feel, because then they grow up to be men with emotional intelligence, right? So
Agreed.
I am truly glad that you talked about it. Now I'm going to go and ask Maya a question. You're sitting there as the baby sister, Maya. I know you love your music and dancing. How does it feel to read your sister's book?
I haven't read it yet, but it really makes me feel happy for her because she's finally getting what she wanted. I think the book seems really cool. Just the characters come to life, and I love all her imagination, just the fantasy. I love the way she thinks and stuff. Yeah.
Thank you, Maya. So Kambree, as you listen to your mom and dad and your sister Maya talk about the book, The Journey, and you, how does it make you feel?
Happy.
Does it make you want to do more?
Yes.
What message do you have for young girls and boys out there?
I want them to know that even when it seems hard and impossible and you feel like no one's ever going to recognize your efforts, that if you keep trying for years, if it takes, or months, it depends really. If you really keep trying to go for it, then you can achieve your dream. Just know what you want and try to go for it, and then you can do anything.
That is a beautiful message. And as I am listening to you, and as I am thinking about the book, is there anything about the book you want to share without giving away the ending?
I'm not too much of a fan for spoilers. It's about a girl named Sophie. She comes from the only non-magical part of her land named Voxaju, and she makes a reckless decision and ends up paying for it. But in the end, it leads her, and there are a lot of magical creatures, some that I made up, some that people have heard of. That's all I can really say without spoiling.
Okay, that's beautiful though. So there are life lessons. You're weaving in important emotional intelligence elements and human behavioral elements. And you've done that masterfully as a young girl, right? What's next for you? What do you want to become when you grow up?
I want to write a story that becomes so famous that it turns into a movie, that I can watch that movie and see how people like take my book and turn it into that.
I love it. So when you say you want to write a book that becomes a movie, and I know because we've talked before, you like to act. Would you want to act in your movie, or would you like to direct because you're the writer?
That's difficult, and I don't really know yet, but probably act in it. I would love to try to become one of my characters.
Okay, that's interesting. So how do your classmates and your friends feel about what you're doing?
They were really proud of me.
Are
And
they supportive?
yes, definitely. A lot of them always were like, they were so proud and supportive of me, and they always would give advice. Some of them bought my book, and it meant a lot to me.
That is nice. Have you ever had a book reading session at the library for little children? Have you thought of doing any of that?
I haven't done it yet, but I could.
Okay, so one of the things I would like to do with you and your mom and dad is maybe plan and do a few things. Because I am thrilled that you have the courage and the ability to do this. So as a Goldilocks community, we're going to figure out how we help you. If you're traveling somewhere with your parents, maybe we can have a book signing in those cities. There are lots of fun things we can do. And when you, as a family, come to Belize to visit me, we're going to have a book signing and a book reading in Belize too.
That would be amazing.
So that's a date.
That
That's a
sounds
date.
awesome.
So as you see this interview going out and people seeing and hearing you and becoming aware of this book, what do you want people to do with that information? What do you see them doing with having watched you? Do you want them to get the book for their kids? Do you want their kids to start writing?
I want them to, yes, read my book, but I also want them to try to accomplish their own dreams too. I mean, if they want to know what happens next, they have to read the book.
I really like the fact that you're keeping the suspense, Kambree, because that's important. So question for mom and dad, as you are participating in this conversation and we are celebrating and showcasing Kambree, what are the things that you see you can do for her to nurture her and grow in this area? Because she's still young.
Oh, absolutely. I think just continuing to encourage her to write and to not give up and be determined and just let her imagination show, because she has a wonderful imagination. She can create worlds. I've read all of her books so far, so I've really enjoyed them. So I'm just encouraging her to continue to work on character development, continue to work on plot. You know, how you can grab the audience's attention, and just continuing to encourage her to continue and not give up.
That's beautiful. Mom, as you see your little girl grow up and be this creative and imaginative, right? She's going to go into the world and be very innovative. She is not going to have boundaries. How does that make you feel, given where you came from and the generational difference?
I'm excited for her, but I'm also nervous for her. The world is very different than when I grew up, but I also think that she has amazing opportunities and resources that I didn't have also to put the word out there, to make herself known and to follow her dreams. And I just encourage her to continue to work hard and to continue her education as much as she wants to, because that will only help her to learn and grow and become more well-rounded and to get to know people. And I'm gonna get emotional, but I see a couple of teachers on here and I am just so grateful to them. Mrs. Bateman was Kambree's language arts teacher. She was one of the first people to buy Kambree's book and put it in her classroom. And that just meant so much. And Miss Pinkham is just phenomenal. She's been an inspiration to Kambree, and Kambree just counts these wonderful women as inspirations in her life. And I think people don't realize how big of a difference that they can make, whether you're a teacher, a family member, a friend. You really have an influence on those around you. And we're just so grateful for the people in our community, for our village that have supported Kambree, not just us.
And that is such an important message, especially where the world is and where everything is so material oriented. For children to see and feel and experience the power of a community.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the end, money doesn't give us anything we need. It's the community that gives us everything we need, right? The love, the support, the nurture, the quality of our life is directly predicated to the strength and resiliency of our community. And it warms my heart to see you teach that lesson by building that community for Kambree and Maya.
Thank you. There's so many people that we could thank that we can't do it alone. And I'm just grateful for those around us that love and support as well.
Family and friends are awesome.
We love they really are. They really are. So Kambree, before I open this up for our audience to ask questions and get engaged in the conversation, is there anything you would like to share with the community?
I'm currently working on writing another book. It's called Willow Nymph, and it's going to be, well, about a nymph named Willow. Yeah. Also, I want to specifically thank my friend Maureen Giulini, because she always reads along with my books and supports me while they're being written. And I just want to send out a special thanks to her.
Thank you for that. And it's so important to have people to look at it, give you feedback, give you the experience of how it's landing, right? And these are things adults would hire editors for, but you are so good at building your own network because you're seeing your parents do it. So now you have everything in your community, which is a beautiful thing. And you're also, as a young lady, showcasing to the world, we already have everything we need around us. All we need to do is build it, acknowledge it, value it, and then let it work its magic, just like your book is magical.
I agree. I love that.
Thank you.
So as we celebrate you and continue this conversation, I am going to open this up to our live audience, to this massive supportive community that has shown up to be there and celebrate your book and talk about your book. So who wants to go? It's open season.
Cam, I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
I am curious how you see that you yourself identify with Sophie. What qualities of yourself did you put in her?
I tried to take her bravery and her urge to actually do something and not just sit around well things are going on that are hard. And I also like to make sure to include about her friends, because I wouldn't be able to do things without my friends either. So yeah.
What an amazing question. And I love your answer, Kambree. Thank you. So if you were to build on that, Kambree, is there any family member or friend who has characters in your book too? You don't have to name them.
Yes.
Is there any one person who is like keeping you moving and keeping the humor and keeping the excitement?
Maureen, my friend that I mentioned earlier.
Okay, nice, nice. Because normally all our characters are from life, right? So I'm glad to hear that. So all of a sudden, as people read the books from your community, they're going to say, oh, this should be this person. This has to be this person. So I'm assuming mom and dad and Maya have roles too.
Yes.
Okay, we all have to read the book to find out, though. Don't give out the secrets.
Not in this book specifically, but in the book that I'm currently writing, Willow Nymph, they definitely have roles there.
Okay, beautiful.
Can't wait to read it.
Lots to come.
Absolutely. And I know there are teachers and family members here, so anything you want to share, anything you want to ask as part of this conversation? Okay, while we wait for them to think of what they want to ask, Mom or Dad, do you have anything you want to add?
Kambree, what gets your creativity like started? Like what kind of activities like help spark it? I'm curious about that.
I like to read to spark my imagination, to see how other people develop plot and stuff. And also, the most random things can spark my imagination. If I just look at something and think, hey, that looks like this, then suddenly I'll write about that in my book, because I have a vivid very imagination, and I can see it very well in my mind.
That's one thing I love about Kambree, is that she sees things in the world in a way that I don't. She'll point things out to me and be like, oh, I've never noticed that. And I just love how she can take, like she said, the smallest thing and just turn it into something even more beautiful than it already is. And I know that she is going to just continue to do so much more. She has so many ideas. She has so many stories that's in the works, and this is just the beginning.
So it sounds like we need to take her more places. So she can see new things.
The more she sees, the more she's sparked, right?
Yes, agreed.
So that is beautiful there. Miss Pinkham has a follow-up question. How do you maintain the discipline to keep writing when there's so many other fun and exciting things to do?
Whenever I think of something else to do, I try to incorporate that into my writing. And sometimes, of course, I take breaks from writing. Sometimes I pace for inspiration. I know that's very random, but it helps me for some reason. And when I have a plot, it excites me to get to certain points of the plot. So I try to keep writing so I can get to those parts.
Awesome.
How many hours a day do you write, or do you just write when the spirit moves you and the ideas come to you?
I just write when I feel like I have inspiration, and a lot in my free time between classes at school or at home when I have time, whenever I get a really good idea.
So do you write with pen and paper, or do you type it?
I usually type on docs. My stories often start as docs that I type there.
Okay. What got you started? I'm curious.
It was actually in 6th grade. It was for the end of year testing, and they told me to write a story. It was supposed to be a short story, like 3 pages. It ended up being 50 pages long, and I realized how much I liked writing, so I kept writing from there.
Did you submit the 50-page paper?
Yes, but it barely fit.
I want to know who's the teacher who graded that. That person must have had a lot of patience, right? Because normally teachers say, I will only grade 2 or 3 pages. Kudos to that teacher.
Yeah.
So I know everybody's mic might be muted, but you can unmute and ask the question or engage. So feel free to.
Okay, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Kambree, I miss you, first of all. You're amazing.
I miss you too.
When you, okay, so like when you have writer's block or you're facing a challenge, what do you do to overcome that?
I like to go on walks and visit scenery. At every place that I've lived, I always have some place that's like a field or somewhere where I can just go. And then on the walk there, and while I'm there, I can just like think of things or just notice things. And then those things will give me inspiration. Like if I see a bird, that I'll think, maybe I can make a winged creature or something.
Love that.
Love it. You're amazing.
I have a question too.
Go ahead.
I am Cambree's friend Axton from school.
Lovely to meet you, Axton.
My question is, how, like, do you, where do you get this, like, spark? Where is your spark from? I know, like, your main stories of genre is usually fantasy and other fantasy types, but where do you get your spark from? Where did you get your spark to start writing?
I am going to be completely honest. I honestly don't know. It's just something that's always been a part of me. I've always written short stories ever since 2nd grade, but I just feel like there's just some need in me to get my mind out into the world, and that I guess that's as big of a spark as ever. Sometimes I like to apply things that happen in my life and twist them like magically into the plot.
I love the question. Go ahead.
That's fantastic. Keep going, Kambree. You're doing fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you, Axton.
Yes.
So I am going to build on what Axton just asked you, Kambree, because she's your friend. She knows you the best.
Me.
She's your you're 2 little girls, so you know how each other feels and you know how each other are wired, right? And the fact that you talked about you don't know where it comes from, but it's something you have to do. So that is what our gifts are, right? Our gifts are what we have, we're born with. And some of us are lucky enough to identify it and then nurture it. And it's only a gift when we give it away. If we don't give it away, it's really not a gift, right? Something becomes a gift only when you give. How does it make you feel that you take this gift of yours and you create magic with words that are healing, that are inspiring, that are nurturing, and you're giving it out to the world? How does that make you feel to give that gift?
It makes me feel happy that I could try to inspire other people, but also it's sometimes sad when I finish a book, like, no, it's all gone.
But remember, it's not all gone. You've let it free, right?
You've liberated it.
Yeah.
That's an interesting way to
People get
think
to
of
enjoy
it.
it now.
Yeah, so you've let it free, and now it's going to go into the lives of other people and make magic for them. So now you've given it as a gift, right? Now you get to go and work on the next gift.
I love that way of looking at it. That's a great way to look at it.
Thank you. So as we bring this to a close, Mom and Dad have any closing thoughts for Kambree? And then I'm going to give Kambree the last word.
I'm not sure what else to say other than keep going, Kambree. We love you so much. We will always, always support you. And we're just so grateful that you're ours.
Kambree, you're awesome. I love you. Keep up the writing. You're an incredible young woman.
Thank you. I love the support. And I accidentally found out, Kambree, that you're a writer because your dad and I are colleagues in the business world. We were trying to coordinate a business meeting, and we both love to have conversations and get to know people. So that kind of serendipitously took us to a place where Dad said, "Oh, Kambree published a book, all of this stuff." I'm like, "Oh, if she's published a book, has she been interviewed? Has she put the word out there?" And he's like, "No, we didn't think about any of that." So here we are, right? This too is magical. So
Thank you
the kind of magic your book is creating, bringing unlikely people into the mix, bringing unlikely relationships, because that is part of the magic, right? Because the power of the magic is to spark this in others. So the very fact that we are doing this, Kambree, is a illustration of the power of the magic you're putting into your books. So with that in mind, what closing thoughts you have for young girls out there so that they can live their dreams?
I want to tell them that if they don't always know what they're going to do in life, to try to reach inside them, find out what hobbies they like doing, and love that and incorporate it, and then go towards their dreams and always try and never let go. Because even when it seems like it's often slipping away or falling, I like to imagine people as birds, and I just want everyone to be able to spread their wings.
Thank you, Kambree. This has been an absolute honor and a personal delight. I cannot wait to meet you in person, and I cannot wait to build on this to keep expanding and amplifying your magic so that you go fly as high as you want, and the rest of us can watch you and enjoy you and celebrate you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kas.
Thank you so much, Kas. We appreciate it.